your song Austin and the line dance you choreographed went viral on TikTok. What was the moment? When was the moment that you realized it blew up, and what was your reaction?
It was about 2 weeks ago, and it's when my mom's friends started texting me. It's when like random high school people started texting me. So people I usually don't hear about when I
Right.
release songs. They were like, "Hey, I see your song everywhere. Like, I can't stop listening to your song. People are talking about your song. People are texting about you." And it was like, whoa, people are actually like paying attention for a second. And obviously we were tracking the numbers in Spotify for artists, but after that first video went up with Zoe, she and I line dancing, I mean, it just created this cultural movement where people were so excited to start line dancing and wanting to do that. And it was the most bizarre thing ever because I felt like I was a part of like a culture shift. I'm
Right.
like, whoa, my song is the soundtrack to like people wanting to do line dancing and like interact in that way. And it was the coolest thing ever. But literally 2 weeks ago, like everything has changed so fast.
Oh my God. It's like,
Yeah.
it's things are happening. Things are happening. What made you decide to choreograph a fun dance for TikTok to go along with your song? And how does it feel to watch tens of thousands of people around the world not only using your song in TikTok videos, but also doing the dance?
Yeah, it's literally bizarre. So I choreographed the dance. Um, I don't know. I guess the idea came from a very genuine space of I love line dancing. I love two-stepping. I love going to honky tonks and dancing. Like I grew up dancing 15 years ballet, like did the whole thing, did
Yeah.
Nutcracker. And so
Recitals.
I mean, exactly. And my favorite way to interact with music is like dancing to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you have the club R&B music where you're just like fucking, going at it, whatever. But I'm like, I'm missing like in my music at my shows, I want people to be dancing to my music, but I know it's not always super upbeat and easy to dance to. So I'm like, it would be so cool if like people started line dancing to my music during my shows. Like starting a honky tonk in my shows would be so, so cool. And so I was just talking to my manager, Alex, and we are like, our North Star goal with this song is to get honky tonks, every honky tonk in America, every honky tonk in the world to play Austin on Friday nights, and for people to know the dance. And that just as a staple would be such a cool, way to interact with my music and like be a part of my community, be a part of the Dasha world. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm going to choreograph a line dance. Let's do it. So I just did it, literally. I just did it. I went through a few drafts, and then that first video went up with Zoe, and it was just such a natural
Yeah.
thing. People just loved it and wanted to do it too.
I love that. Do you have any favorites that you can think of on the top of your head? Or maybe like recent favorites from the past few days, I guess I should say.
Of people using the sound.
Yes.
I mean, my two favorites off the top of my head are one, the girl who kicks her chicken. Did you see that one? I duetted it, but it got taken off my TikTok for some community violation. I don't know why, but she lives on a farm and she was dancing, and then a rooster starts charging her, and she kicks it in the air and grabs it by its feet, brings it to the camera, and goes, Austin. And I was like, there's no way this is real. I was like, this is actually crazy.
Like
And
it's
then my second
CGI.
favorite, no, I know. Literally, I was like, "What is going on?" And then the other one was this girl, and she was in her front yard. I'm sure you seen it. It has like over 6 million views already. But she's like in her front yard, and she's about to do the dance. Did your boot stop? And her foot rolls, and she falls into the bushes. And it's so good. It's literally so good.
Oh, I did see that one. That one is iconic. That is just so
Oh,
funny.
it's so good. And it's awesome because it's cool that Austin, the sound has become like a trend. And so when people use the sound on TikTok, it like gains more traction. But because of that, these small users are getting a lot of traction and like feeling, like a little fame and like having a moment with it. And so it's been encouraging people to keep using the sound and doing the dance and stuff because not only do they have a piece of content that they already know what they're going to do, like, oh, I can do the line dance, like this is
Yeah,
easy, but also they get to be a part of this bigger thing of like, oh, I did the line dance, did you do the line dance?
right.
And then if you're with your friends and you're in public and Austin plays, oh, we know the line dance and we can
Right.
do it, and it's something fun we can do.
So your debut country album, What Happens Now, just dropped last week. What was the inspiration behind the album, and why did you decide to have Austin be the lead single?
So actually, Austin was not the lead single. It came out. There was a four. So the album's 8 songs, and
Okay.
we had singles drop before. It was Even Cowboys Cry was the first one, and then second it was Austin. And then I had King California come out, and then 42. And so Austin was actually just the second single that came out. We always knew that I was going to be the star player, though. Like, we always knew Austin was going to be the quarterback to putting, me on the map. And so it was actually our streaming partner, Ben's idea. And he was like, hey, I think that you should put Austin out second, let it live
Okay.
there in the world, have some natural traction. And then a few weeks before the album, like, let's just hit it really hard with the line dance and like hit it hard with posting about it and just like see what happens. And that was like the perfect strategy because Austin needed it. Came out in November actually, and it just blew up like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And so it sat there for a second. And yeah, I mean, first listen, Austin has changed my life in so many different ways. It's what got me my management. It's what got me my first distro deal a few months ago. It's literally the reason I'm taking all these crazy label meetings this week in New York and getting flown out. Like, this song has literally changed my life, and it's so crazy to see it all happen in weeks. It's wild.
Are you like having like pinch me moments? Like, do you feel like you're having like in a fever dream almost?
Yeah, I was FaceTiming my little sister last night. It was my birthday yesterday, and she called me, and we were. She was like, "Well, tell me about everything," and I was kind of giving her the download. And as I was coming out of my mouth, I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, it took me a second to think about it as I was saying it. I'm like, "This is actually so wild. Like, this is bizarre," and
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I knew I wanted to be an artist since I was literally 10. Like, I've been working at it since then. I released my first song when I was 13. But so it was just a matter of time, and I knew that. But it's amazing that now is the time because I'm ready.
Love that. You kind of brought up your sister. Speaking of your family, your brother is also a musician.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with music in the household? Did you and your brother, I know you said you did you guys both know you wanted to pursue music? And like, how's your family always been supportive, or did they kind of like want you to do something else?
No, my family. So Bardo and I showed. Bardo's my older brother. He's 3 years
Mm,
older, and he's a producer. He actually worked a lot on this album, and so from a young age, we knew that both of us were really interested in music. I was
right.
more on the writing side. He was more on the production side. So growing up, we kind of got to like learn off each other.
That's
So I would
awesome.
write a song, he would produce it for me, or he would write a track, and then I would be like, "Oh, let me top line this for you," whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so fun getting to artistically develop with him
Yeah.
because he's such a safe place, and yet he was always he expects the best from me. He knows I can do. He always pushes me super hard, and I really appreciate it about him because he's just been my number one fan since the beginning. Like, when all this was happening, when it is happening right now, and he's
Yeah.
just been so unbelievably supportive and like number one fan all day forever. And it's just like I could cry thinking about it. He's the best. But
Aw.
yeah, parents have always been super supportive. My mom is an architect, but she has like her independent radio show under NPR. So she's an incredible music curator. She's a great taste in music. My dad, he went more the business route. He's an entrepreneur, but he dances. He does like improvisational dance,
Awesome.
like
Wait,
that type of stuff. So I have hippie creative parents who are over the moon that two of their kids were into music.
you used to be in the pop genre. What made you
Mhm.
decide to switch to country?
Honestly, it was just a matter of like growing up a bit. I mean, your young 20s, like, you just move, you learn a lot about yourself and you change so much. And pop was what I wanted to do late college, early 20s, and I was super excited about that for a while. And then um top of last year, I released my album Dirty Blonde, and that was a pop record, and I'm so proud of the songwriting in that album. But something about the sonics of it, I was like, I just don't feel like it's me anymore. I feel like I've
Right.
outgrown this, and I I needed to change something about it. And so I was having a bit of a crisis for a few months. I was like, why do I not feel connected to my music? Like, what do I do? This is all I've ever done. I'm like, what am I doing? And it was actually my brother's ex-girlfriend at the time. We were in the car, and I was playing Morgan Wallen's album. All
Yeah.
I ever did was listen to country. That's how I started,
Yeah.
Dolly and Taylor and Miranda Lambert. And it was just always me and a guitar. That's how I write songs. And so she was saying that. She's like, Dash, like, you write songs on a guitar. Like, you are from a small town. You only listen to country. Like, why would you not make country music? You went to school in Nashville. Like, you got this. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, it almost made too much sense for me to see it for myself. I had someone else to like tell me I need to do country. Then I was like,
Right.
okay, duh. And so I kind of took that mindset into all these sessions and stuff in LA. And I wasn't even saying like I want to make country all of a sudden. It was more just like I want my songwriting to be the star of the show because that's what I am first and foremost. I'm a songwriter, and I want that to be. I want the songs to show up in the rawest form they can. And so I was coming to sessions like I want to throw banjo and fiddle on this because this top line I got going on, like it needs it. You know, it was kind of more of that situation. And like a month into that mindset of like, hey, let's try some more country stuff out. I wrote Austin, and then I was like, oh, okay, we got this.
Yeah. Like this is
And then
it.
the whole
This is it.
album just like, yeah, the whole album flew out so easily. And honestly, when I wrote King of California, that was like sonically, that was my North Star because I got to use that song as kind of like a reference track for my other ones because I loved how like raw and just rootsy it felt. So yeah, that was a long answer. Sorry.
No, no, I loved it. No, I love it. I just no, that was an incredible answer. You kind of touched on this a little bit. But who are some of your music influences and idols? And like who is your dream collaboration?
Right now, okay, so Casey Musgraves is one of the first greats since I ever started writing. Her songwriting style is just she paints a picture in your head, and I really try to do the same thing. I really respect her as a songwriter. Noah Khan, also chef's kiss, love him. I actually, so like I said, Taylor was one of the first reasons I started writing. Dolly Parton, Miranda Lambert, but also, I mean, Avril Lavigne too. Love her as a kid. That was on my iPod repeat. But also, I find a lot of inspiration from R&B music,
Wow.
especially in my melodies. Yeah. I feel like my melody approach is very non-traditional for country music. As much storytelling as I have in my music, I also love a pop hook, and I love some crazy melodies, and I love a good vocal run. And I've taken that a lot from like SZA and Chris Brown. I love Chris Brown. Don't get me started on him. Like that man can move his hips.
The wall to wall trend on
Yeah,
TikTok. Have you seen that?
yeah, yes. You kidding me? I just like love. I love a good hook. Like you
Yeah.
need a hook, and I know how to write a hook, and I also know how to like write a story. And so
Mhm.
I feel like that's kind of where the magic of my music is, and I think that's why it's getting so much attention right now is because I'm kind of marrying both worlds of that,
Right.
and it's I don't know, it's just kind of hitting. And I mean, when I make music, I'm just like, I want to make music that I want to listen to, that I feel like I'm missing in my Spotify playlist, you know?
Yeah.
And this kind of, I mean, this album kind of hit that for me. So,
Well, we are so excited for what's to come. So to end this interview, what can we expect next? Can we expect you signing with a label? Like, what can you tell us? Like, what can you tease about more music? Like,
oh,
what's
girl,
next?
there's so much going on. I don't even know. I don't even know what a month is going to look like right now. I can tell you two things though. One, a label signing is definitely happening. I'm literally in a random office in New York right now.
Okay.
I finished sitting like 3 minutes before this call, and
Okay.
I was like rushing over here to get here. So a label is definitely in the works right now, which is
Okay.
very exciting. And new music is coming very soon.